好莱坞经典动作系列《极限特工》时隔12年，银幕再续新篇。新作《极限特工：终极回归》2月10日正式登陆内地院线。第一部的主演范迪塞尔重返特工江湖，誓言重振系列荣光。在好莱坞闯荡多年，范迪塞尔凭借其独特的个人魅力和能编能导的全能才华，一跃成为当今最炙手可热的动作巨星之一。除了身兼《速度与激情》等多部系列电影的主演，他还深入幕后，不断推出票房口碑双赢的重量级商业大片。在《极限特工：终极回归》上映之际，时光网独家专访影人范迪塞尔，揭秘新片看点的同时，也畅聊他在好莱坞的个人奋斗史，分享这位硬汉型男的超级电影梦。
Okay, so what seduced you to come back to a franchise you'd left for 15 years?
The simple answer is I just needed to have fun again. I guess, I started to be self-conscious of the fact that I wasn't smiling on screen, and I wasn't laughing on screen, and I wasn't playing characters that, at the very least, were enjoying themselves. I was usually having to carry heavy plots on my shoulders, and which is great in terms of making cinema, but on a personal level, you'd be surprised how therapeutic just laughing on screen is.
How do you go about conceptualizing the kind of stunt sequences? Do you actually sort of look into what kind of mad sports are going on right now?
Sure. That's what's so fun about the development process. You literally, you call it work, but you're literally just scouring the internet for really cool and unique and seldom seen stunts, and then working with your writers to kind of factored into the storyline. And for me, that was a really fun process. I mean, I remember the day that I kind of came across the snowless skiing. I was just like, this is insane. I mean, the feeling of this, it's just so liberating. And it's so Xander. But that's how it is for all the stunts. And for every stunt that you see on film, there's 10 or 15 of them that didn't make this film, that you might see in the future film.
And in the film, you and Donnie Yen share some punches, but
yes, we did.
If it came to it, who would win in a fight, you or Donnie Yen?
Oh my God. It wouldn't come to it. I love Donnie. It wouldn't come to it. I really, really, really enjoyed working with Donnie Yen. It was like, I'd be buying presents for his kids, or he'd be buying presents for my kids. It was a very generous, giving relationship. And he's a perfectionist in his own right. And I get flack for being a perfectionist in Hollywood. You know, they call me a perfectionist with some disdain, because it means that nothing's ever good enough for me, or I'm always pushing the envelope. So I liked the fact that there was somebody else that had a similar take on making films. We have completely different styles. The irony with Xander Cage is he's not supposed to be a fighter. So if you look at Xander Cage, very seldom do you see him actually throwing punches. He does something called MXMA, which is motocross martial arts. So he'd rather smack you with the back wheel of his bike than the back of his foot.
We're willing to die to keep the world safe. How about you?
I live for this.
Now, as a man who kind of breaks out into a cold sweat on a step ladder, how does it get for you? How scary? Are there points where they say, you can't do it anymore, Vin, it's too scary?
Unfortunately, no. I wish they did more, because something that I do that's not so great is when the director says action, I don't think twice about it. If I'm in character, I just do it, and that might not be the smartest thing. And I should, now that I have children, I should probably think a little more about the stunts I'm willing to do. But I guess I get lost in the character, and I start believing I can do all these things.
Action!
Ever since the beginning of XXX, I used to do really extreme sports. I used to do daredevil stuff. And then I started to feel like I was wasting my 9 lives on film. And so I stopped doing it outside of film. I stopped being as reckless outside of film with stunts, which is, you know, I grew up in New York City doing crazy things. You know, I'd be on rollerblades holding the back of cabs going through insane traffic, and obviously riding motorcycles through New York City is a dangerous thing to do. And yet, I'm able to tap into that part of me for playing the character. But again, as a parent, yeah, I hate to say this, but I should be more. Maybe I should be more. After the fact, I always think like, that's not too smart to do. You have to get home to your angels.
喜欢玩命、喜欢极限运动的范迪塞尔，也许命中注定要成为银幕上闪亮的动作巨星。童年的剧院工作，冥冥之中为他点亮了银幕电影梦。虽然也做过俱乐部保镖，当过电话推销员，然而对于电影和艺术的挚爱，却让他从未放弃过对梦想的追求。1995年，一部自编、自导、自演的小成本电影《千面人》，让范迪塞尔的努力真正引起了好莱坞大咖们的注意。这其中就包括当时正在筹备新片《拯救大兵瑞恩》的重量级导演史蒂文·斯皮尔伯格。
I started acting when I was 7 years old, and I started filming right before I turned 30. And I had already directed 2 films. So I had directed Multifacial that went to Cannes, and I had directed Strays that went to Sundance Dramatic Competition. And I remembered going to the set of Saving Private Ryan. I didn't have to audition for Steven Spielberg. He wrote the role for me. And then when I went to set, I saw his passion for the film. At that point, it was a $67 million budget. And the only film I had ever done was the film I directed, $47,000. But I saw that there was a similarity in my approach to the film and his approach to the film. We were both obsessive about it, and it didn't matter what accomplishments we had in the past. It was just all about that piece of work. Guys, come over here!
Copy, put your head down. Put your head down.
Copy it. Copy it and send it before you.
Copy, you're gonna send it yourself. Put it down. I see it.
Blood.
Copy, I see it.
It's to my dad. It's got blood on it.
In the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s, it was hard for people to imagine where I would fit in a movie because I have kind of an exotic feel. I have a kind of multicultural feel. And when the millennium changed, it was like the world opened up to this kind of idea of a multicultural movie star. I remember being a kid and saying, I want to be the first multicultural movie star. When I went to Hollywood, I kept saying, I would say to agents and managers, I'm going to change the face of Hollywood. It won't look like your Gary Coopers or your traditional. It's going to look a little bit different. And I think everything lined up in a certain way. The wonderful thing about me is that no matter what country you come from, you can relate to me somehow. You feel like I can be your brother. You feel like I could be your cousin, your relative. And in this era of filmmaking, that's proven to be an asset. It was important to add a certain level of multiculturalism to the Fast saga, but not, when Fast and Furious, I'll use that as an example, when Fast and Furious started, diversity was present, but it was maybe still used as a plot motivator, kind of like West Side Story is diverse, but it's the essence of the story. It's what fuels the story. I wanted to create a multiculturalism that wasn't the spotlight of the story. That was just part of the essence of the characters. It's more representative of the world we live in today, where we have a group of friends that are from different places, and we all love one each other and consider one another our family. What I wanted to do with XXX was go one step further. I wanted to create a truly global cast. I wanted to go into respective film markets like China and Bollywood and pull out their celebrated talents and bring them into our family of performers and actors. And, maybe in a world where walls and borders are being promoted, something like this, a film like this, where there are no borders, was all that much more necessary. Part of my success is that I never stopped doing that. That's probably the secret. The other way to answer that is to say that time becomes the most difficult resource to acquire. And I came out of Ang Lee going, and totally time for me to go back and try to direct my masterpiece. Again, it's that time. It's how much time what would it really entail? Because I've made promises on Facebook, and I made promises to so many of the fans. One of those promises was to realize Hannibal the Conqueror and that trilogy. And so it's something that I think about quite often. And more recently, I've been thinking about it even more. Like, I've reached so much success. I can't possibly think of any more success. And, 3 of the biggest movies coming out this year. But what I haven't done is I haven't fulfilled that promise of that Carthaginian general that is so close to me and so real. And if I think about it too much, it's just like, oh God, I feel like such a failure because I haven't done it yet.
参演斯皮尔伯格、西德尼·吕美特、李安等著名导演的银幕大作，深入幕后，成为《速度与激情》、《星际传奇》、《极限特工》等经典系列的幕后推手。正如范迪塞尔自己所言，他的成功在于从未停止创作的脚步。而新年伊始，这位戏里戏外的超级大忙人，也早已把自己2017年的工作计划排得满满当当。
And how was it working very recently with another Dame, your second Dame in Helen Mirren? That must have been fun.
So much fun. Fast 8, in order to justify doing Fast 8, in order to justify doing another chapter, I knew that the performances were going to have to be pushed to the max. So we got a few Oscar-winning actors, Charlize Theron and Helen Mirren. Helen was doing some interviews and talking about the fact that her dream is to work with Vin Diesel. And She would love to be in the Fast and Furious franchise. And then about a year ago, I was at a party for my agency, CAA in LA, and she was there. And she, well, it was just a love fest, and she was saying, you know, when are you going to get your act together? Then I said I wanted to be in your movie. Find something, put it together. And then literally after she did that, I took the writer and the director on a trip to the Caribbean, and in 1 week we worked it out and created a perfect role for her.
You are in the Marvel Universe. You are an old Groot and a young Groot, and I'm sure it's been great to return. But is there another kind of superpower or superhero character you would want to fulfill?
I really love the Groot character, and I feel like there's so much more story to mine for that character. There could be something interesting about playing Black Bolt if Marvel got their shit together. If Marvel got their shit together, there could be something interesting about playing Black Bolt. But if they just send it off to TV and they quit and they give up and they act like little pansies and they don't get it together, then so be it. But yes, I feel fortunate and blessed to play a character that's enigmatic in the way that Groot is. I mean, he is one of the most enigmatic characters in the Marvel Universe. But yeah, I got a scratch on my back. Don't worry about that. Yeah, even Groots have scratches. I like to train now very specifically for the roles that I'm doing. And we talked about Sidney Lumet. That film, I was supposed to play a character named Fat Jack Bernocchio. So that didn't call for any working out. That called for eating a tub of ice cream every night and trying to put on as much weight as possible. I try to keep it about the film. Meaning I try to train. Why is my phone going off? Let me take pictures of my kids. Oh, it's the producer. Wait. Don't you know I'm talking to China? Haven't I made you enough money? Yep. So where was I?
You trained for each particular film.